It's the person who's in the arena who's dusty and bloodied and failing and getting back up again. That's where I think I am personally, and I really have a great deal of respect for the people that keep coming back, even when you don't have it quite right yet.
Real leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to show up and keep trying, even when you don't have it all figured out. Shannon joins me to talk about why the best growth happens when you're willing to get a little dusty in the arena. We explore how staying curious, among other things, can help you lead through even the toughest headwinds.
Leadership sound bites. Real leaders, real moments, real growth.
So welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with my super special guest, Shana Padgett, CEO of Value Capture. And I have been exposed to value capture through catalysis and through Sutter Health for years. You and I were talking before I hit record. We probably have passed each other in hallways at stuff and never met. And then I
Exactly.
think Megan reached out and about recording an episode, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, of course. So I'm excited for this conversation. And I know you have a quote to kick us off, and then we'll just kind of dive in.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I'm really happy to be here and glad we're finally talking because you're right. We've been in the same places for way too long to have not really officially got a chance to chat.
I love it.
So I have a number of them, but the one that's really present for me right now is from Teddy Roosevelt, right? And it's a long paragraph,
Yeah.
but what always sticks with me is it's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man has stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena. So obviously it's over 100 years old and it's maybe not worded exactly like I would word it today, but that it's the person who's in the arena who's dusty and bloodied and failing and getting back up again. That's where I think I am personally, and I really have a great deal of respect for the people that keep coming back, even when you don't have it quite right yet. So I'm going to go with that one today.
No, I love it. And what's funny as I sit here and listen to you, the thing that came to mind for me that I hadn't thought of before, because I've heard the quote before, um, but it was like, I have to agree. I have so much respect for people that actually get in the arena. And the rest of it is you've got so many others that are sitting on the sidelines complaining, armchair coaching, criticizing, whatever that may be. And I'm like, F you. I mean, seriously, because I'm like, who are you to comment on somebody else who's actually doing it and doing something instead of sitting on the sidelines? And so, for whatever reason, that hit me that way, that it had not hit me that way before.
I'm with you 100%. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it is one of my favorite parts about the kind of work we do. The people that we are generally working with, right? They are the people that are in the arena,
Yeah,
right? They are the people that are taking the hits and learning the lessons and coming back to try again and again in service of whoever it is that they are in service of, right? So
yeah,
I think a lot of times people think about this as like the top seat. I think about this as anybody who gets up, you know, one leg at a time for the pants, one shoe at a time, and then you're out the door doing the best you can, right? And so that's the other thing. For me, I have sat at all different levels, and I'm the same person. You know what I mean? Like you're still the
yeah,
same person. You're showing up in your arena. You're
yeah.
showing up and fighting your battles. And I think it just applies to anyone who is, like you said, trying to get stuff done,
Yeah.
especially at a time when it's hard to get stuff done.
So, well, it can be if depending on what's happening and what is coming your way. And I don't want to say at you because I know words matter so strongly, but you could be headwind is probably the best way to say it. You could be going into a headwind, and if you're in a plane flying, it's going to take longer and it's going to take more energy and resources, fuel, all the stuff. versus if you've got a tailwind going with you. And so I think most businesses, most organizations, not all of them, but most organizations these days are up against a headwind from a number of different aspects, right? It's not just economical, it is technology that people are faced with too. Organizations are making different decisions than what they would have made 6, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
It's that quick. And it's like, oh, people are like, oh, okay. Or they're just pausing because things are changing so quickly that it's like the strategy and our 3 to 5 year plan, we have to blow that up. Okay, because it's no longer relevant and it won't keep us relevant and in the game. But what I want to do is go back because it dawned on me, I know what you do. Can you just share with people what value capture does?
Thank you for asking and thank you for backing us up because we did get right into it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it
value
dawned on me, I
capture.
was like, you're describing what, and I'm like, I don't know that other people know. Yes.
So we are a small boutique consulting group, headquartered in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where our founders were. That's where we grew out of. And we did grow out of a local initiative in Pittsburgh. But what we are, somewhere between 10 and 25 people, depending on how many clients we have,
Hmm.
helping people develop leaders, install operating systems, solve flow problems and, you know, safety problems and quality problems. So we do that. And our founder, Mr. Paul O'Neill, came out of Alcoa in Pittsburgh. And they actually stood up the original sort of our foundation came out of Mr. O'Neill plus some other area leaders coming together because healthcare was too expensive for businesses.
Mm.
Much money, not enough people being able to access what they needed, and not enough, sort of benefit for the spend. And
Hmm.
so he wanted to marshal business leaders, community leaders, healthcare leaders in the region to solve that problem, right? How can healthcare be available to everybody, affordable, and high quality?
Yeah.
And they had tremendous, tremendous gains. I'm sure anybody in healthcare can think about, something they've done and had tremendous gains.
Hmm.
And then they ran into some of those headwinds,
Yeah.
politics, egos, a number of things that anyway led to us spinning off into a consulting group. And so
Yeah.
that's who we are. And I
Yeah.
came to Value Capture about 10 years ago as one of the advisors. So that's what I've been doing since the early 2000s. I got exposed to Lean and Six Sigma in my own healthcare system. That
Hmm.
was Healtheast in Minnesota. Somebody was like, "Hey, you want to be on this team?" And I was like, "Sure, it sounds like fun." And what I didn't know is it would be like this hard pivot. Not because it was more fun than what I was doing, but it was something it's sort of like something, but you can't quite describe it. And so you're
Hmm.
sort of looking for that experience or that definition or that someone who can reveal to you this thing you're experiencing, but you don't fully understand it. That was this moment for me. And so I went from working in the lab, that's what I am by background, I'm a clinical laboratory scientist, um, moved away from the bench and the leadership positions on the delivery side into consulting. And so that's what we do now. And that's a little bit more about me.
So it's interesting because when you talk about your journey into process improvement and leadership and all that stuff, I got exposed to lean at Sutter Health. And so I was in the Leadership Academy class of 2011, so 2010 to 2011. And I had been the team that I had before I became a finance director at one of the hospitals. So the team that I had reporting to me before that, when I was at a regional accounting manager, were just high performing. I mean, they were wired that way. So when I go in, I'm naturally looking to make things better. That I'm just wired that way. And my team was wired that way. So I had the luxury of being the point person, if you will, right? Because to me, the team's all here. but the point person of a high performing team, which is daunting, by the way, because you have to stay just a little bit ahead to kind of keep them aligned, right? Because they're off and running. So we had improvements like, I mean, leapfrogging like there was no tomorrow. And so, but we didn't do, I wasn't aware of lean or some management system that could actually, we just were wired that way.
Yep.
So I went over and went through Leadership Academy and we got exposed to lean as a management system. I'm like, this is it. I mean, I went, this is the way that we can bring everyone else along who isn't just naturally wired that way. And I'm like, how do you get in, right? Because I was a finance director. And so one of the CEOs in the region I was in mandated lean training at the time. So it was like
Okay.
almost like a flavor of the month kind of thing. And he wanted to be, so I'm like, can I go? Right? So I'd gone through Leadership Academy. It was a week long, Shanna, a week long. You know nothing after a week of facilitator training. And they're like,
Yep.
go, you're ready. And I said, for what? And so I went back to the hospital I worked at because I was still a finance director. And I'm like, I'm going to hold brown bag sessions. So I literally put a memo out to people in our hospital and said, we are only 145 beds. I'm going to be doing brown bag sessions in the boardroom. And then I'm going to basically teach you the stuff I learned just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I'm no expert. And so that's what we did. And we did a 5S at one of the rooms that we did. I mean, so we started doing our own thing, and then we had a couple Kaizen events, which are week-long improvement events, typically week is what we did. Kaizen events, I've unpacked them. I've done them for an hour and a half, people. Okay. You can
Nice.
you can shrink down and scope and because I wasn't raised with all the formal stuff. And so I'm just going, let's just take this and let's go. And then there was an opportunity. Talk about I think you and I had this conversation that there wasn't really a plan for my career. There were just
Yes.
doors that opened, right? So I was a zealot for this. I'm still a finance director doing improvement work. And as a finance director, I'm going to legitimize the work because I'm going to make sure it's real and the numbers are real and we're just not making stuff up. But one of the master black belts, because Sutter had a master black belt program, reached out to me and he goes, Michelle, we have a posting for a black belt. You should apply. I said, well, Dave, this was Dave Rasmussen. So I don't know if you've run across Dave
I've
Rasmussen.
heard about him.
So I said, Dave, there's only one problem with that. I'm not one. Was
Yeah.
not certified, had not go through certification. That program was not happening anymore. He goes, what better way to learn than on the job?
But
True
to have that
statement.
support.
True statement. I'm like, okay, I'll apply. So I had to prepare everything because I had applied. I had to interview for a job I'd never done. So the report out, I had to pull improvement work. I pulled it from the one of the two Kaizen events we had, pull all this stuff together. I was a nervous wreck. So long story short, I got the job. 4-month transition to leave from the role I was in to the other job because you're still within the same org and they can hold you back.
Yeah.
So, but it was one of those things I never looked back, scared to death. I mean, I'm jumping into something that my buddy Jamie Matter, who was a nurse and, a lean consultant, she's my buddy. My buddy threw me in the deep end. We had a Kaizen event. She goes, Michelle, just go out on the shared drive and get the stuff that we need to plant. Excuse me? I've never done this. So
Though,
it's
similar,
so
right?
cool. Yes.
Similar,
Yes.
exactly. So I got on a team and we ran a very structured approach. That was the first exposure I'd had to this kind of consulting was a group from actually out of a J&J company. It's called Value Metrics.
Okay.
This was like 2003. So
Okay.
healthcare in lean was still very new.
Super new.
And for I'm trying to remember. I think it was like 3.5 months. You get pulled out into this team, and we completely changed everything about how we collected samples, processed samples, got the test results, reported the test results, and you'd think, oh, you know, how hard can it be? Oh my God, it was so hard. But not because the concepts were hard.
No.
What was hard is we were organization of specialists. So if you worked in chemistry, you'd worked in chemistry for a long time, or hematology or blood
Yeah.
bank. I happened to be a generalist because that's how I came up in the field, and I had
Yeah.
taught for about 5 years. So I was one of the few generalists. And so I was like, oh, no, no, no. It's the change management. It was the fact that, you poke on the balloon in one spot, but the impact shows up on another spot,
Oh
right? So
yeah.
we went through all of that, and it was the best, in my opinion, education I could have had to try to understand this is how it works, and this is for me or not for me in terms of the fact that if you're in to do it well, you're all in. And the
Yeah.
other thing you said was, being the point person for a high performing team. I said we are a small team, but we are a mighty team at Value Capture, right? I've got some of the best who have been doing this for a long time, who are trained in this, right? So
Yeah.
they grew up knowing how to
Yeah.
do this. They didn't just
Yeah.
trip into it one day. And so I don't know. I don't know if there's one right way to get into it, but I do know that at one point you have that revelation. Oh my God, thank you for, pulling back the curtain for me. Now I get it. Or you have the revelation that I want to stay in my field of expertise, but I want to know more. Like, what can
Yeah.
I bring in so that I can do my job with my teammates better and better? So it's just a really fun space.
It is, and it's what for me, and it was interesting because what you talk about is like I eventually became the director of the improvement team for a section of the organization. So I had 16 direct reports when COVID hit. And
Did you
people
say when COVID hit? So in
when COVID
2020.
hit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the people on my team had technical expertise and certifications way beyond anything I had. And I think that's for me, when I go into stuff like that, I get excited because we can all learn from each other, right? And my way of doing it, literally, I would go, we can just teach them this, right? To the front. And then I had people that went through the certifications go, you can't just teach this.
Sure you can.
And I'm like, well, why not? Right? So I think
Exactly.
what happened is there's this push and pull that I think is good because it has us question what we believe to be true. And what I now know to be true is there's more than one way to peel an apple. And we do leapfrog when we challenge each other so that the end product that we have is this amazing thing that can relate to way more people than if I had gone in on my own or, someone else on the team had gone in there on their own with their thinking and we hadn't challenged what we learned because we learned something that somebody that's like standard work. It's the best way we know how to do it now, but that's not going to be the best way we know how to do it a week from now or tomorrow or with AI. It could just be an hour from now. There's some better way to come along.
That's the truth. And so I love that, just to be really clear. And it took me a while. So I agree with you 100%. And it took me a while to learn the difference between the tool um, versus the system that the tool sort of existed in
Yes.
versus the sort of undeniable principles that were again there, but not always evident. Like they're
Mhm.
evident because they drive outcomes, but they're not evident in that they're easy to name sometimes. And
Yeah.
so the other thing that makes me so happy about being in this space, and like you said, being with different people all the time and learning from other people,
Hmm.
is that ability not only for myself to continue learning, but to watch other people as they go through their journey and to be part of that journey. Like it's just the most amazing thing. And so if I bring it back to the quote, that arena can look like um, trying to get a hard job done, trying to make a hard decision and trying and trying, not necessarily, it can be the kindergartner trying to learn, their letters. It can be the leader that's trying really hard to adopt a new way of showing up because they believe that that's going to make a difference for their teams. Um, that arena is just, it's kind of everywhere.
Hmm.
And that is both inspiring to know that people show up in that arena in their home life, in their work life, in that commute between home and work. Like
Hmm.
we're in that arena a lot all day
Hmm.
long and for different reasons and for different passions and responsibilities. But the human who can um, see the arena as that sort of place of growth and can sort of put all the naysayers and the,
Hmm.
like you said, the fence sitters and the quarter, back, what is it called? The like
Oh, the
Monday night
armchair
quarterback or
quarterback.
whatever.
Isn't it armchair quarterback or
Armchair
something?
quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm bad
I
at my
had to
similes.
visualize sitting on a sofa somewhere, a sofa, right? It's like, okay, you're actually not in the game.
But exactly, you can just sort of like, yeah, 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 and put those in the right place in your brain and still continue to fight the good fight in service of something and someone else
Yeah.
is still just the most inspiring thing. And then to have this shared language of sort of improvement and leadership creates a whole new, I mean, community really of people to learn from and talk to and share with. It's just a joyous place. So healthcare is a community, improvement is a community. And so, yeah.
It's funny because when you were describing the arena stuff and all the different places it shows up, what came to mind for me was that's life that you're describing.
Yeah.
You're describing life. And it's one of those things that it's worth putting everything that you've got into it. And nothing's guaranteed. But that being said, it's worth the learning. It's worth the engagement. It's worth that as long as you don't go in going, this is the one way that we, it's like go in like you're experimenting
Yeah.
and try things and then sit back and go, what worked? What was different than I thought it was going to be? Right? And what's next? And if we can stay in it with this curiosity and this open mind and we keep going and we don't give up, things are going to happen. So it's like keep the questions coming, keep the curiosity coming, keep the hope. And that's one of the things I remember telling leaders during COVID. Teresa Fry was a great leader during COVID. But it's like, you're going to get in front of your teams and people are so focused on, well, I want to be transparent. Okay. And realize that you're talking to a pretty freaking big audience. So, yes, be transparent with things that make sense to be transparent with. You're going to be transparent saying, okay, this stuff I really can't talk to you about, I know. And we have to give people hope. So, when you're in the arena, you've got the mud on your face and the blood and all that stuff, we still have to give people hope.
And the thing is, yes, and if you have had the fortune of being exposed to that hope is not a plan, I fully believe that.
Not a
Uh,
strategy. Yeah.
it's not a strategy and it's not a plan, but it is an outcome of absolutely knowing a way to solve any and all problems if you are tenacious enough.
Hmm.
any and all problems can be solved
Mm-hmm.
using that scientific method. And like you said, being curious and open and engaging the
Yeah.
people that are part of that space. But I think when people lose hope is when they feel like we run through all the solutions. And I'm just so happy to know this is how I feel like I'm still energized by healthcare every day. It's kind of broken in the US. It's been broken as long as I've been
Oh
alive. And
yeah.
the older I get, the more deeply I understand how we are broken and where we are broken. And we can and we need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not there yet, but
Mm-mm.
I have not lost hope. No, just
We
more
have
work.
because we've made improvements. We have made
We have
improvements,
made
and it's so
tremendous
important.
improvements.
Yeah, it's so important that people acknowledge that. Yeah. So time freaking flies in the room with you, woman.
It
Um,
certainly
and
did. I was
and
just checking
and
the clock.
I know, yeah, and I so appreciate I know we're going to do this again with Megan.
That's right.
And then you have an open invitation to come back because there's so many other things that I would love to unpack with you. So last thoughts. What do you want people to walk away with? What comes to mind for you?
I feel like what's really alive for me right now in our last minute is we're not done. We know the path forward, and our field is full of people that are in the arena. And so, what's not to be hopeful about? But hope is not the plan, right? So, how do we get that plan in place and running those experiments? And thank you so much, Michelle. This has been a blast. I really appreciate it.
It's been so fun, and I appreciate your journey, and I do want to learn more. And just the nuances of the leadership journey and how we show up and what we go through. Yeah, and just give people hope. And because hope just needs to be one of the ingredients. It's not the plan or the strategy, but it needs to be one of the ingredients.
It's what
Thank
gets us
you.
up in the
Thank
morning.
you. Yep. Yeah, well, that, and I asked myself, what magic am I going to create today? So
Ooh,
that's the other
ooh.
thing. So my brain is
I might
scanning.
try that one on tomorrow. What
Yeah,
magic will I create
yes,
today?
my brain is scanning for magical moments, right? So
All
yeah.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been Leadership Soundbites with Michelle and Shanna. And until next time, please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you and it. And have a great freaking day. Thank you.